Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me on Life in Bama.
You okay?
Coming. On this Life in Bama, we're going to a special place in Old Dora. There are no do not trespass signs here, but I hope we're not creating a problem. To give you an idea of a timeline in American history around the time this building was built, the Great Depression happened from August of 1929 to March of 1933. That's what it's noted as. And then the Works Progress Administration was established in April of 1935 to June of 1943. It was a federal agency that provided funding for jobs for people, and it was all different kinds of people: builders, artists, people that painted murals, musicians, all different kinds of people who needed work. Shortly after that, in September of 1939, World War II began, and it lasted until September of 1945. So here we are at our destination, and this is the Old Dora Library. As we look at what is left of the old library, we see over the doorway there was some kind of an arch, probably made of cement or stone, that was supported on each side of the door. Also, we see this tree that's grown up right in front of it that's disrupted whatever steps were there, and the metal frames in the windows that held the glass. Inside, we see the back wall has collapsed. There's the fireplace. And taking a good look inside, I'm going to assume that that's the way the interior walls did look. The Old Dora Library was one of the WPA projects in Dora. There was also the jail, Watkins Field at Dora High School, the Dora High School gym, and I believe there might have been some kind of a sidewalk to the tunnel that went through the 1917 tunnel. There was a walkway that went above the tunnel, and there may have been some kind of walkway down there that was constructed by the WPA. With the library being in Old Dora, of course, one of the references that I naturally went to, because I'm fortunate enough to have one of these books, they're no longer available. I've been going through it and using it as my reference. And one of the pictures I found was this picture from the 1930s, and it's listed WPA, and it has men working on a building. And then down here at the bottom, it has this picture, WPA. These men cut stone for the city of Dora and WPA. So this is showing the men that were hired from Dora, and the other people would have been from all over the area. That let me know that the WPA was in Dora. But unfortunately, these projects that I've mentioned to you were not on the WPA listing. I went to a website called livingnewdeal.org, and I couldn't find anything out about any of the projects that were done in Dora. I found other projects in Alabama and even those in Walker County. Here are some of the WPA projects. You had Interstate Highway Atmore, Jailhouse, Carbon Hill, Jasper City Hall. There's the jailhouse in Carbon Hill, and you can see the style that it was made in, and that is very similar to the one in Dora, but the one in Dora has a chimney on the front of it. Here's the Gunnersville Armory. You can see how it's made out of stone, and it has a cornerstone in place. This is a photo of a WPA work in Troy, Alabama. This is a public library, and it's very similar to the one that was in Dora, the arched windows. The windows are a little bit different. These slide up and down where the ones in Dora had swung out. Also, the Dora had a different, I believe it had a different chimney on it. You'll see the chimney on the outside of it as opposed to this one that's just coming out of the roof. But this is a good example of a library that they built among the hundreds that they built across the nation during that time. Here is a picture of the building. This is the library in Old Dora. It was built by the WPA. This one was posted on the Dora High School alumni site, but the picture is also in the Dora Centennial book. As I learn more and more about the WPA projects, it's just the incredible amount of projects that they did build. And what they did also, even in libraries, is they hired staff to staff the libraries, not only build places, but paid people to work and gave them jobs. I'm sure there are other stories in the Dora Centennial book also, but this fellow here pictured is Charles Blackman, and it says here that during the Great Depression he worked for the WPA as a foreman over the building of the library on Red Star Hill, and also the building of Watkins Field, the football field behind the Old Dora High School. He spent many hours measuring and planning the seating areas. So according to this, not only was the gate, the stone gate, built at Watkins Field, but the field as well was built by the WPA. It's always interesting to me about old places in Old Dora like this. And as I was looking at this library, and I know of this photograph here, I think that this photograph is taken while the workers are building this library. You could tell that the men along the back are probably standing on the not yet built back wall. The men in the middle are sitting on a piece of wood that would have stretched across from the fireplace to the other wall across the middle support that's now just rock that's left, stone. And then you can see that the stone's being laid on the front of the building. Also, the hill that's behind it matches more for it to be the library than it was the jail. So I believe that this is a photo of the library being built. On top of that, to add to my story, I think that that is my grandfather that is in the hat in the middle of the photo. My mother always told me that he worked with the WPA, but I never really had any information about that. But he was a carpenter and also a school teacher. During those times you worked what you could work. But he did teach school, and I have a photograph of him with his school class, and he's dressed in this suit. So if I can compare a younger him as the school teacher dressed in this suit as an older him in this photograph, you can see that it may possibly have been. I've asked several of my relatives, and one person said they spotted him right off. So I can only assume that was my grandfather, and that he helped build the Dora Public Library, the WPA Library. There are so many stories that can be told about the town of Old Dora. It's just amazing the lives that people lived here. You can see off the hill to the town of Old Dora down there. There's the railroad track and the old Ford Motor Company. I hope you enjoyed watching. Remember to subscribe to my channel. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.